guys, welcome back to my channel. So today's video is going to be a very in-depth, flawless foundation routine. So it's gonna go in-depth. We're gonna explain all the things and why I use what brush and why I use this, why I use that, what kind of product does this for this kind of skin. Right now, yeah, you'll see why my face kind of looks a little dewy, so just keep watching. Don't forget to subscribe and like my channel, leave a comment, and without further ado, just jump into the video. All right, so I have officially done my brows and I ran out of eyebrow pencil, so they will start to go back to blonder tomorrow or so. Basically, we're just gonna go over all the foundation stuff, so let's jump right in. So, generally, I would do my eyes first, so I'm gonna go ahead and do that. I've already done my brows, but I'm gonna go ahead and cut them, clean them up, and then I'll be back. I'm just gonna do it with primer, like I always do, concealer, blah, blah, blah. Then I'll be back and we will film the rest. Okay, so you guys have seen me do my eyebrow routine millions and millions of times. I did not cut it out with a white concealer just because we're gonna focus basically just on a flawless foundation and base. So, first thing is first, you're gonna want to make sure that you are moisturized. Moisturizing your skin is so important. I was really bad about this and I was wondering why my makeup was getting cakey and like it was just my nose, everything was separating off that. So we're gonna moisturize. I usually don't use a cream moisturizer just because I don't like the thickness of it. I'm gonna use the Green Grass Dry Oil and I'm just going to spray some of this in my hand. You don't need a lot of this and it's very oily, so if you do have oily skin, I don't recommend this for you. I would probably just use like a cream lotion. And then I'm just gonna rub that in the face, avoiding the eyes. All right, so you should be pretty moisturized. And honestly, you need to do this at least twice a day. Always make sure that you're moisturizing on your face, especially if you do use a whole lot of makeup. I pretty much have like a full face of glam on every day, so I always have to make sure that I'm moisturizing my face properly at night, and I promise you, if you start doing that, you will see results. So, next thing is next, is primer. So I'm gonna go in with the e.l.f. Poreless Putty Primer. I choose poreless primers just because I like filling my pores. Probably not the best for you. So I'm just gonna scrape some of this out, apply it all over my face. Always remember, when you are rubbing stuff on your face, you are always going to want to go in an upward motion and not pull anything downward because you're wanting to push your skin up. You don't want it to sag, you want it to be lifted and tight. And I don't know, that's just what I've been told and I'm just gonna go with it because some people, man, Angelina Jolie, Jennifer Aniston, Sandra freaking Bullock, they all look gorgeous. So they have to be doing something correct. You're just gonna wanna make sure that you get that all rubbed in, especially around your problem areas, around your nose. Okay, so if you do not flake around your nose, you can just skip to the next part of this video. I'm going to show you a way, it's gonna look freaking crazy at first, but I'm gonna show you a way that if your makeup starts to crack or like just flake off right here, this is a way to stop it. And it's gonna look insane. So, if this doesn't happen to you, like I said, just skip forward. We're gonna use concealers. All right, so I am going to use the L'Oreal Infallible and then the Pretty Vulgar. And I'm just going to apply this to my nose, my whole entire nose. You do not wanna make this too light because you are not trying to emphasize your whole entire nose, but you don't wanna make it too dark to where your foundation can't cover it. So I'm just gonna dot on some concealer. The only reason that I am using two is just to kind of balance the colors out, to not make it look so dark or so light. I don't know know if you guys can hear that, but my cat is definitely eating in the background, so just ignore her. Okay, I got one of these handy dandy little wedge sponges, and I'm just going to tap that in. And rub it if you need to, honestly. You're just gonna go over this. You just wanna make sure that you kind of get some sort of base for your foundation right there. The reason that you're cracking is either you are too dry, you're not moisturizing every day, it could just be the oils reacting from your certain foundations. It just kind of depends. Me living in Oklahoma, I'm kind of used to it, so I feel like everyone here, their poor little noses crack all the time because we have no weather. It's insane. Like right now, it's freaking sleeting and snowing at 12:30 in the morning. All right. Now that you look crazy, you're just gonna wanna make sure all of that's pushed into the skin fairly even. Like I said, don't waste too much time on this. It's gonna get covered. Oh God, sorry. All right, next step is going to be foundation. So I have my beauty blender. I am going to mix two colors again because I have a spray tan and I don't have a perfect match. So L'Oreal Infallible, and then I'm also going to use some of the MAC Face and Body Foundation just to give me a hint of the darkness that I need. I do prefer using a beauty blender over a brush because I really feel like you can get into all the crevices with your beauty blender. Your brush can do the same thing, but it's not gonna be as flawless. So we're just gonna finish blending. And you wanna make sure also when you are trying to work just on like practicing your face makeup, that you are not like swiping, you're tapping, and that'll help you a whole lot. You don't want to tap too hard to where you can see it pop in the skin, but you just want to kind of lightly tap. All right, and don't forget, you always need to blend it into your ear, down your neck, and that you can, I normally just drag it down a little. And then kind of pat your neck. You kind of want to make sure that you're dragging it down a little bit further just because you don't want to make it look like it's stopped right here. Now, with concealer, you don't have to draw triangles on your skin. You don't have to do anything that Instagram or YouTube videos or anything like that shows you. Everyone has different face shapes. So I kind of have like an oblong, round, I don't know. So where I'm gonna highlight and where I'm gonna contour is going to be different than if you had like a chiseled diamond face. It's just gonna be different. So I would just kind of practice around with this because I had trouble with this whenever I first started. I would just do it directly, like exactly how I saw it on Pinterest and stuff like that. No, just buy some cheap concealer, practice, play around. It just really does take a lot of practice and patience. Lots of patience. So I'm going to do the same thing, both of my concealers. I'm just going to use the concealer. I don't really have dark circles very much, so that is a plus. I'm gonna use the bright one to brighten, which is gonna be way too light, but that's fine. Then I'm gonna go back over with the Pretty Vulgar just to kind of warm it up so I don't look like a ghost. I'm gonna look like a ghost, but we'll be all right. When you are picking out your shade, you definitely only want to do 1 to 2 shades lighter. I promise you, you'll definitely understand. So then I'm just gonna take my beauty blender and dab everything in, make sure I'm pressing it into the skin and not sweeping it around. Like I said, I basically just use concealer to kind of brighten up. I don't necessarily use it to cover anything. I was blessed with decent skin, thank God, so there's that. Whenever you are gonna blend up underneath your eyes, you're gonna wanna make sure that you're looking up towards the heavens, because you're gonna want to get underneath this eye area really, really well, because that's gonna be where you crease 100% of the time. Even if you say you don't crease, you're gonna crease right there. So just look up while you blend, keep on blending. Make sure that you're putting this part of your beauty sponge up into it. Get it in your eyeball, not completely, but don't be scared. It'll be fine. All right, so once you're done with that and you're just like, holy shoot, I look like a ghost, I always take this end that I had used to blend out my foundation and I just lightly tap over it so that I can get this, like, get rid of this little line, even though there's not really a line, it's just more of an insurance to myself. So I'll just tap around my whole entire face, making sure that those are all blending together. All right, and then I'm gonna go in with some translucent powder. I am gonna go in with Coty Airspun. Gus. Gus. I'll wait. Okay, now that he rudely interrupted, I probably creased a little. So I'm gonna take this beauty blender back underneath my eyeball area and just blend. So with my Coty Airspun, I'm just gonna empty some in the lid. I'm gonna take my beauty sponge, I'm gonna stick it right in there like that, tap off a little of the excess, and I'm gonna pop that right underneath my eyes. Basically, whenever you're doing this, you're also just going to want to set everything that you had put the concealer on, especially your nose if you did do the trick that I had shown you in the beginning. I'm just going to press this right on top. Look like one of those Baywatch lifeguards. Okay, and then you just want to make sure that you're going back over it and you're really, really going to push in that powder. Just making sure everything is really pushed in there. You don't necessarily have to do this on your nose area. I would just kind of let that sit and soak in. But underneath the eyes, you really want to make sure that it is pushed in there, because it's going to prevent any creasing. Okay, so since you have already concealed everything and you put the powder on the bright areas that you're wanting to bring out, just make sure that you don't really have any excess right here on these, and then also around your forehead. If you do contour with a liquid on your nose, you're going to want to make sure that you kind of wipe that off. I do not like contouring with liquid on my nose. I find it too harsh. It's not very forgiving, and I just do it powdered, be done. So I'm going to use the MAC concealer and corrector. And then I'm just gonna go in also with the MAC 252S, and I'm just gonna dip into this shade right here. It's probably the darkest in the palette, which is a little nerve-wracking. All right. Okay, so when I contour, you guys are actually going to have a natural contour line. Everyone says to do like the fishy face and all that stuff. I don't do that. I don't do that at all. So right here, yeah, you guys can see that. Right here is going to be my natural contour line. You can see it on both sides. If you do not have that, what you can do is you can take this part of your makeup brush, poke around right here. So this is going to be your cheekbone. Go up underneath of it, and you're going to want to contour right underneath that cheekbone. So I'm going to lay my liquid right there. You do not need a whole lot You do not, I promise you. And contouring takes practice and patience and just a lot of patience. I used to walk out of my house looking like I just rolled in mud, and I used to think it looked so awesome. So when you are contouring, remember you are kind of pushing everything back. So I'm going to be pushing this back to make my forehead look a little bit smaller and then my cheekbones look a little more sunk in. Also, if you have a double chin like me, you can take this as well and go underneath the jawline. You are also going to want to make sure that you get this little line right here, so your forehead, or so your face doesn't look disconnected from your neck. All right. Then I'm just going to take my beauty blender and blend that in. And also on the hairline area, I kind of just swipe it up. It doesn't really matter to me, just as long as you don't get patches, and if you do, then you're swiping too hard. So just kind of try to learn how to tap. Okay, so say you got a little too muddy like I did on this side. I'm just gonna quickly take some concealer. I'm probably gonna go with this shade, maybe a little bit of this, and I'm just gonna kind of put a little dot right here just to kind of clean up that area. You don't want to go overboard with that just because you don't want to wipe off all of your hard work that you just spent so long on. And then you're just gonna tap it in. All right, so another tip when you have translucent powder, so you've already done everything like that. If you do have a liquid on your face, you're gonna wanna remember that you are going to have to set it with a powder, or your foundation and concealer is just gonna slip and slide all day long and it's not gonna look good at the end of the day. So I also take my translucent powder and I kind of give myself a line right underneath the cheekbone, right underneath where I contoured, where I put that highlight, that concealer shade. And this is also gonna help brighten up this area to kind of give it an optical illusion that your cheekbones are Angelina Jolie. So we're just gonna go right into the contour palette. I'm gonna use my MAC palette. All right. Okay, so I do have some powder laid down already, which is perfectly fine. It's gonna really help me keep my contour where I need it to go. I'm gonna go ahead and go in with this shade right here. Tap off the excess, and then you're just going to lightly start right here. And I like to do little circular motions and kind of like a windshield wiper, but remember, you are not dragging down, you are dragging upward. Because there's days that my skin is warm, and then there's days that my skin just wants to be icy as freaking a polar bear. And then I'm gonna do the same thing underneath the jawline. So you do still have on all of that powder up here. I'm gonna go ahead and do a quick wipe down. You're gonna wanna use a fluffy brush. You're just going to lightly wipe everything off, the powder up here. Okay, and then to the nose contour. I am going to use a Robert Jones number 11. It's kind of a tapered fluffy brush. And I'm going to tap into, not the exact same shade that I had contoured with, but I'm gonna tap into this one right here that's a little bit lighter, which I can always build up, and then I can always make sure that I'm not gonna reapply too heavy. So I'm going to follow the nose. You wanna make sure that you're doing this very straight. And I always bring mine up here. I feel like it looks a little better when you do that. Nose contour is not like something that you have to do. I really rarely do it. I'm just gonna show you guys how I do it. It's just, I don't know. I'm not very self-conscious about my nose. Okay. And people will probably scream because this is how I do it. I take my beauty blender and I just pop it. Bippity boppity boo, all on my nose. And I'm just lightly tapping that. Okay, with the same brush, I'm just gonna wipe it off a little bit on a paper towel. I'm gonna go in with my white shade right here, wipe off the excess, and I'm gonna go directly straight up and down my nose. This is considered highlighting technically, but I just kind of do this to make it a little more noticeable, I guess. All right, now that is done, we're gonna go ahead and wipe off this loose powder down here. All right. Now onto highlight. I'm going to use the Wet n Wild. This is the Mega Glow highlighting powder in Golden Flower Crown. This highlighting powder is amazing. It's really nice. For the price, you cannot beat it. I'm gonna take this brush right here and I'm just going to tap it in here, rub it around, tap off the excess, and I'm gonna swipe it right on that top of that cheekbone. So if you remembered earlier where we found this contour area, you're going to now highlight the cheekbone. This is gonna draw the attention towards the cheekbone. And then I always bring mine up to the edge of the eyebrow. Blush. Apparently I have the weirdest way of applying blush, and I thought that it was the coolest thing ever whenever I had first saw it. I use a fan brush to apply my blush. That sounds insane. I don't know why. I really like this hack and I use it every time that I wear blush, so I promise, try it. You might like it. I'm gonna go in with the Alarm. All right, looks like this. And I'm just going to take my fan brush and I'm going to swipe it on the side, kind of blush off the excess, and then I'm just gonna swipe. You do wanna make sure you are getting the apples of your cheeks. And I'm just gonna swipe, 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 swipe. I don't know. I just feel like this gives a healthy amount of blush. It's not overpowering, and I feel like it's just so smooth. So I promise you guys, try this. It's amazing. I never use this for highlighter. I literally only use this for blush. So promise you, hacks. And it just kind of gives you like a super healthy glow. I love it. All right. Now you have everything done. So what we're gonna do is I'm going to set my face. I'm gonna use the Power Up In Beauty Project Power Up Setting Spray. I'm gonna spray this on my face. Okay, this is a really cool trick that I have also learned. So if you have peach fuzz or any kind of like raised texture on your skin, whenever you do spray your setting spray, grab a fluff, a puff, or whatever you want to call it, and tap it into your skin while your setting spray is still on there. Oh, I'm sorry. There is like a cat hair everywhere and it's driving me crazy. All right. Then we wait to dry. Okay, so it's a pretty nice little foundation routine. Healthy glow, all that jazz. But another tip that I have is if your skin is dry or say the weather is changing where you're living, your face doesn't really know what it's gonna do next, this is mind-blowing and scary. So I'm gonna take my beauty blender. I'm just going to use this side and I'm gonna take my serum. This is a Elemis Rosé Facial Oil. All right, prepare to be mind blown because this looks really, really scary at first. The first time I did it, I think it was Jaclyn Hill's video that had shown it to me and I was like, there's no way. I tried it and I was shook. So I'm going to put some drops on my beauty blender and I'm just gonna pat this into the skin and you'll immediately see a difference. And I'm gonna spritz myself again with a little setting spray. All right guys, so that is the finished look. I feel like it is a very healthy looking skin, very flawless. I think the light is kind of making this look a little more dewy than what it is in person. So just kind of ignore that, but it looks amazing. And this is a very subtle and nice foundation routine. I'm telling you, the nose hack works wonders. So always make sure that you are concealing your nose if you have those problems. Just remember, moisturize, prime, foundation, everything like that. Just remember those steps. You can even put a twist on it yourself. So yeah, I do like today's look. I will go ahead and link everything down in the description box of what I used and how I used it. I might put some timestamps in there too, just in case you're wondering. Maybe you just only want to see a few things. So with that being said, if you guys liked and enjoyed this video, just make sure that you leave a comment, subscribe, and don't forget to hit the notification bell. See you guys later. Bye.